So first night at anchor out for this season, and we're very happy. Really raining, and I do think there's hail. There is. This is the beginning of May, and we have hail coming down.
So every once in a while there'll be a plume of smoke coming off the top, especially really dark, ashy smoke.
Wow, that is really a powerful little whirlpool right there.
I was about 10 minutes to 4, I was kind of rolling around and waking up, and all of a sudden I heard Karen scream, said, "Tom, get up here!" And so I ran up and I saw there was some light shining on our boat. And oh yeah, you can see breaking waves coming into the beach over there. So we'll probably get some surge coming in to the marina around the breakwater.
And we're just taking a moment amidst sneezes to talk about maybe what some of the highlights were. It's really windy. To talk about what some of the highlights were of Italy. And we launched Sea Rose from her winter home in Gaeta, Italy in early May, and we set out right away. We had our first guest of the season joining us in Sorrento in less than a week, time to make sure all our systems were working and in tip-top shape. For that, we would go to places we were familiar with. First stop, Ishqiya, one of the amazing islands off Naples. And we're now off of the town of Sant'Angelo, and we had anchored on the other side of this isthmus here as one of our last anchorages last fall, and it's a great town. We're supposed to have a significant heavy winds tonight, so from the east, which is exactly in this direction right here. So we positioned ourselves so we'd be right behind this big rock island. Hopefully we'll be protected enough, but the sky is just beautiful tonight. There's been a lot of rain in the last couple days, but what that does for the sky is make a beautiful sunset. So first night at anchor out for this season, and we're very happy. All right, is this day 2 at our anchorage? Day 2. And we are on Procida, next to Ishqiya. And last night we had a little rolly sleep, but we had a lot more rolly time this morning, so we decided to leave after we checked the weather. And we are luckily in this little teeny little cove off of Procida, and we have thunder and lightning. So, you know, day 2 at an anchorage. So we have an anchor drag alarm set. Look at these new instruments that we have up here. Woohoo! Wow. So now it is really raining, and I do think there's hail. There is. This is the beginning of May, and we have hail coming down. For goodness sakes. And we had so much rain that our dinghy immediately filled up with water. So we are lowering it on the one side and draining it. All in a day's work. Literally a minute later, after all that hail, it's all calm. And that's usually how storms happen around here. They fly through, keep you on your toes, and then they go away. But it's a beautiful little caldera. We're happy we're here. It's probably just runoff from the town. So we just realized that there's a pipe, a drainage pipe that comes out over here, and we can see it bubbling up. So this is a trip. We hope it's just drainage, and it was raining so hard that I am sure it would come flying down through here and bubble it up, but it's just a trip that it's actually making its own little waves out there. Oh my God, too much. Everything is always so exciting. Gosh. All systems are in great shape, so now it's time to head to Sorrento, which is straight ahead over there. Off to the right is the island of Capri, which we visited a couple times last summer. We have great wind today. It's between 18 and 22 knots and we're moving right along. Sea Rose loves a good sail as much as we do. We will meet our friends Mary and Dave in Sorrento tomorrow afternoon. We were a bit anxious about having a commitment so early in the season, but it's all coming together pretty nicely, and it will be so great to have them on board.
But it's not real. We were close to see the sun, but clouds got in our way.
Here's the tiny Porto Turistico harbor in Sorrento, where Sea Rose is tied stern to the dock. The large and very pleasant town is up above these cliffs. Once we settled Mary and Dave on board, we walked the town and enjoyed dinner ashore.
Okay, I'm going to bastardize the name of this place, but it's what it is. This is a Cillarelli, and along the Italian coast south of Amalfi. And we had a 40 plus mile day sailing downwind. It was really beautiful. And we anchored out off here initially, and it was really too rolly. So we came into the dock here. We learned this is a free dock. And unusually, we were able to side tie. Normally you need a Medmore, but we had an easy time coming in here. The only challenge is it's very shallow. We tried to come in down below, past those boats there, and we ran aground just like 3 or 4 meters off the dock. So we had to come up here, and the water's slightly deeper here. We've got half a meter under the keel, and the tide here is half a meter, so should be in good shape. But beautiful little spot, tiny little town, kind of an artistic feel to it. A lot of arts and crafts type of things and creative little shops. Still pretty quiet though for early May or mid-May, so not a lot of activity and tourism, but a nice little stop along the way as we head down to Sicily with our friends Mary and Dave. All right, we are approaching Stromboli. We left Cillarelli early this morning about 3 a.m. Because we knew it was about a 90-mile trip down to the Aeolian Islands, Stromboli being the first one. So we had a really great sail. We're motoring now, but we had an awesome sail for pretty much the whole time, doing 6 knots, generally up to 7. So we had a good time, and the wind sort of lightening up as we got closer here to Stromboli. See it there. And if there's any question about whether it's an active volcano, just look at the top there. Every once in a while we get these dark plumes that come up. And also down by the water surface there, apparently there's lava that's coming down into the ocean. So we might check that out tomorrow. You can't really anchor down over there, but you can kind of take your boat around. Apparently people do it at night, go over there and see the lava coming down in the water at nighttime, and then go back to their anchorage. So this is Stromboli, the northernmost Aeolian Islands. Right north is Sicily. So every once in a while there'll be a plume of smoke coming off the top, especially really dark, ashy smoke. You can see it rising up there now.
We had 2 very rolling nights anchored on the shallow bank off the northern side of Stromboli. About every 30 minutes you can hear and see a mini eruption. Each morning we awoke to find black ash, almost a fine sand, scattered all over the surfaces of the boat. We would find this ash for the coming several months as we cleaned various areas. Our second night, we picked up our anchor around dusk and motored to the side of the island where the eruptions can be seen with the naked eye. We spent about an hour here slowly bobbing around before we headed back to try to find where we had been anchored. So we left Stromboli this morning after we enjoyed an evening of checking out the explosions off of the top of the volcano. And this island that we're going past now is one of the Aeolian Islands off of Panarea. And these rocks are great. They're just really craggy. I always love these rocks. They seem to just shoot up out of nowhere. And this is Panarea over here. Zoom in a little bit.
Don't you wanna come and run away with me? Hey, won't you come and say bye?
On our way from Stromboli to Vulcano, we made a lunch and swim stop in a stunning cove on the south side of Panarea. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence of a Neolithic village on the cliffs over the water here. The Neolithic age began around 12,000 years ago and ended as civilizations started to rise around 3,500 BCE. So, darn old.
It's 2 a.m. and I can't fall asleep, 'cause I'm not tired. I'm thinking about the days we used to shine when we were young. I told you that we should start a band.
Here's the strange looking island of Vulcano. It's the other one of the Aeolian Islands that has an active volcano on it. And we're going to go into this little cove up here and find a spot. Even though it's dead calm out right now, it's supposed to get a little windy later on, and this area should be very protected inside here.
Volcano, and we're going up to the crater behind us for a hike, and so it's going to blow. So this may be our last recording and evidence that this phone is found somewhere on the other side of the island.
There you go.
Along with our body parts.
I'm wearing yellow.
Any inspiring words?
They'll find Karen first.
All right, well that's it.
Here we go.
Yeah.
The wildflowers on our hike were wonderful. We kept enjoying new fragrances as our elevation increased. The low profile of the volcano makes it seem quite low from below, but watch how our perspective changes as we go up and up and up until we're at the top and looking down into the crater with the vent holes all around us. Our Earth is fascinating.
I'm just not tired.
We just left Milazzo, and it's behind us. Don't be deceived by the oil refinery stuff there. In the foreground, it's actually kind of a nice little town, very working town. A lot of ferries leave from here to go out to the Aeolian Islands for good reason, because it's so close. And we just had a one-night stop over there to drop off our friends Mary and Dave, and they're headed to other travels in Europe. So we had a great visit with them. So again, the main thing we're considering is our transit through the Messina Straits and our timing through there. We've got a nice little gentle breeze that we're sailing with today, so good kind of casual start, but I'm sure it'll be a little bit stressful going through the straits, just to keep an eye out for currents. There's also apparently whirlpools through there. We're going to keep an eye out for that, and obviously ship traffic and everything like that. So this is the first stage of us getting the boat around to Croatia. We're going to be taking the boat around the bottom of Italy, the boot of Italy, and it's a rather exposed area. There's not as many harbors to go into there, and the prevailing winds are blowing onshore out of the south or southeast. And we're seeing that actually coming up in a couple days, very strong winds blowing out of the south. So it's kind of, to be honest with you, it's kind of a little nervous thing for us. We want to get around there. It's kind of, you're sort of caught with your pants down there, so to speak, and you're very exposed. So we want to get through there quickly If we've got some favorable wind, we're probably going to use as much as we can of it and do as long of the day hops as we can.
So we're down right outside of the town of Messina right now, which is over here, and they have all these ferries that are going back and forth, and we're seeing another tide line here where there's tons of currents and whirlpools and stuff. We're going to be going through here. This is where there's a bit of a roundabout on the chart, and they ask you to, you know, follow in the same path that the ferries cross here. We see that we're really the only people following the directions, which is pretty typical. But anyway, this whirlpool is pretty crazy. And we'll be turning and heading over. He's probably just wanting to get beyond here. Wow, there's quite a whirlpool over here too. Wow, that is really a powerful little whirlpool right there. Going past it right now, and the tide changing around and the wind and everything just blows it around pretty crazy. And it's a really calm day today in comparison to how the weather often is when people come through here. One of the dangers is not as much the current and the tides as the squalls that come up of the you know, the mountains on both sides, and the sea in between creates lots of weather. So there's often a lot of squalls through here. Once we had passed through the narrow part of the Strait of Messina, we studied the charts for a potential anchorage for the night. We weren't able to find a place that we were both comfortable with. Everywhere seemed too exposed. I suggested we push on and do an overnight to Crotone. As Tom mentioned earlier, we had some anxiety about passing beneath Italy's boot, and we liked the weather window that we had right now to make a bigger jump. As evening set, we each prepared for 3 hours on, 3 hours off for our sleep watch cycle.
So it's about 4 o'clock in the morning. I just came back on watch and relieved Karen. I was about 10 minutes to 4. I was kind of rolling around and waking up, and all of a sudden I heard Karen scream, say, "Tom, get up here!" And so I ran up and I saw there was some light shining on our boat. And when I got up in the cockpit, there was a boat approaching us with a big spotlight shining down on us, and it was, you couldn't tell what was going on. It kept getting closer and closer, and you know, frankly, we were worried they were going to ram us or something. The spotlight is so bright you couldn't see what it was coming from, although it was just high up off the water, and we didn't know what to do. We were just kind of like panicked, and you know, no word, no call on the radio, no information about what they wanted or whatever. And they kept getting closer and closer, and God, it was just really scary. And eventually, and I got our spotlight in my hand, but it wouldn't do much against their spotlight to see who they were. And eventually, they turned their spotlight away for just ever so slightly, and I could read on the side of the boat, it said Guardia, Finanza. And then they dimmed their spotlight completely, turned away and throttled up and left us. So Guardia Finanza here is, they have sort of two branches of protection on the water, the Guardia Costiera, which is sort of, as I understand, is search and rescue and safety. Guardia Finanza is protecting the coastline from for drug enforcement, and I think they're also the ones that get involved in all the migrants that are coming over by water to Italy. So it was really intimidating. Call out to the Italian government that it would be awfully nice if you stated what you're doing when you come up alongside a boat. And of course, afterwards, we thought of a lot of things we could have done. Got on the radio, done a mayday call, just to sort of let them know that we were threatened by them, or try to call them on the radio and just ask them what their intentions are. But we were just sort of like shell-shocked about this super bright light and have no idea what it is and what they're doing. I mean, Karen was really shook up by it, which I can understand, because they just approached She saw them on radar, but they didn't have AIS on, which happened in one of the boats I saw my last watch too. No AIS, clearly a large commercial boat. Could have been a fishing boat, but I'm betting it was another Guardia Finanza boat. So thankfully that's over. I don't envy Karen having to now go off watch and try to fall asleep, but it was definitely scary, and we're glad it's over with. So we've been underway about 14 hours since Milazzo, and we are approaching Crotone. So it's been kind of a long 14 hours. I meant 26 hours. We left noon yesterday and we're arriving here about 1400. So we're approaching here, and I'll show you what it looks like a little bit. They have these oil platforms. One is a small one here, and then they've got two more that are offshore there, and we're going to be going directly out that way tomorrow to head over to the heel of Italy, St. Maria de Luca, and then Crotone is directly ahead there. So a little different topography here. It's very agricultural when we came around the point back there, and you know, these high bluffs, but not as rocky and steep mountains as we've seen in Sicily. Okay, so we were just asked about where we're headed, where we came from, and they gave us a big thumbs up when we said that eventually we're going to go to Croatia and Greece. So that was a little tamer of an experience than we had yesterday. They certainly are active in this area. Alright, we're at Porto Turistico in Maria della Luca, and we arrived yesterday afternoon. We're going to be here for 3 nights, waiting out some bad weather. We're out on the sort of outer dock area over there. It's relatively calm in the marina now, a bit of a surge, but tomorrow the wind's supposed to come more out of the south and southwest, which is going to bring it around the breakwater there. You can see all the white water out there now. It's apparently about a 2-meter wave height, so nobody's going anywhere today, and nor tomorrow probably. But we'll have to watch out for, oh yeah, you can see breaking waves coming into the beach over there. So we'll probably get some surge coming in to the marina around the breakwater, because this is sort of south right there, and southwest would bring waves right into the marina, so we're keeping an eye on that. Gonna go for a walk and do some little sightseeing. They also have a couple derelict boats here that came up with migrants from Africa. They've been secured here, left here, abandoned here, confiscated, and one of them is sunk at the dock, so we're going to check that out as well. And also they have some steps that were built up to the point of land here called the Mussolini steps, because Mussolini built them as he wanted to sort of have this be a gateway to Italy. These are the Mussolini steps, or Via Francigeni and Via Luca Denzi, I guess is their modern name. Steps and a monument, and possibly waterfall or water drainage. Yeah, they got little routes for water to go down here too. Very nice. Nice plaza here at the top with a monument and a very robust lighthouse. Lots of rough and confused seas here. This is the joining of the sort of transition from the Ionian Sea to the Adriatic Sea, and we'll sail by here in a couple days, and hopefully it won't look so crazy and rough. So this is the area of the dock in Santa Maria de Luca where they've confiscated boats. As we understand that they mostly have come from migrant boats that have come up from Africa, and this one in particular didn't quite make it on the dock. It's got a sail on it and a crude mast. and otherwise is down in the ocean here. Oh, it's a wood boat.
Oh, man.
Still tied to the dock.
Back on the dock in the afternoon, we met a couple who lives in Switzerland, has a summer home on a lake near us in New Hampshire, and the man of the couple grew up here in Santa Maria de Luca. They offered to take us to their favorite restaurant that night and ended up giving us a terrific driving tour around the coastline and to the inland town of Massimo's youth. What an amazing night, and so wonderful to get to know this area better through the eyes of a local.
So we're saying goodbye to Santa Maria de Luca. It's a lot clearer and calmer today, even though the waves are, it's still a lot of slop in the water. But we had a nice stay here, 3 nights, got some projects done, got to relax a little bit, had a nice meal ashore with some locals that we met, and we will have fond memories of this very tip of the heel of the boot of Italy, and a beautiful walk up there to the monument and to the lighthouse. So goodbye for now to Santa Maria de Luca. So we're leaving the Ionian Sea and starting up the Adriatic. Apparently there's quite a bit of current here at the heel of the boot of Italy. Right now actually we're getting a current push through, but it could be quite a bit of current coming down and against you when you go up the Adriatic. So lots of caves and grottos here, similar to the other side of Saint Maria de Luca. And we understand that in calm conditions they're great for exploring and snorkeling.
All right, well, it is almost the last day of May 2019, and we have been in the Italian waters for on and off about 13, 14 weeks. We spent about 10 and a half weeks here in the summer of 2018, and Tom always sneezes when he's in the sun.
Yep.
So, and then we've been here almost 3 weeks now, and we're leaving the waters here in Italy actually in a couple hours to cross over to Montenegro. And we're just taking a moment amidst sneezes to talk about maybe what some of the highlights were. It's really windy. To talk about what some of the highlights were of Italy. And we started in La Maddalena, and our dear friends, the Pearsons, were with us when we first checked into Italian waters. And that was such a special place, as was the east coast of Sardinia. And, then we had all of the Tuscan Islands that we spent a long time at, on and off. Gosh, if I were to grab a favorite, maybe Ishqiya, I think. Although it would really be hard to hone in on a favorite, because even where we are right now, and we'll show some footage of this lovely cove.
Not now, but later.
There's so many beautiful areas of Italy, and they're so different, from the volcanoes at Stromboli to the wonderful nature that is exhibited at Panza, that, it's really hard to come up with a special spot. But I guess maybe Ishqiya grabbed my heart for whatever reason. We had a couple very special experiences there. Italy, we're gonna miss you. Here's to...
We are. We're drinking Italy wine.
We're drinking Italian wine.
Even though we shouldn't be, because we're leaving in a couple hours to cross over to Montenegro.
We normally do not drink at all before we do an overnight, but we're gonna go take a nap right after this.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my thing.
Jeez. Yes, a couple other things that I loved about Italy. Matt and Michelle, and we were down sort of near Ganone and the Calas and all that. That was really cool. And I really liked Cinque Terre. I was glad we were able to make it up Cinque Terre and check that all out.
It's very rocky. It's very windy.
It's not the wine rockiness. Cinque Terre, and then I really loved Sorrento. The Amalfi coast was really great, but I think the Sorrento was a great sort of starting and ending place. Great town, and just a beautiful setting. And where else? Stromboli really stuck out for me. Seeing an actual active volcano and being able to walk around the town was really beautiful. It was rough. It was hard to figure out where to anchor, but it was kind of neat that way too. It wasn't like a simple thing to go and drop your anchor in sand and shallow areas. You had to really kind of work at it to get there. I don't think quite expected to spend as much time as we did here, but it worked out. And Italy has a lot of coastline in the Mediterranean, so I guess it sort of makes sense you end up spending a lot of time in Italy. So we're saying goodbye. I have no idea how to say goodbye. Oh, arrivederci.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci to
Yes,
Italy
yeah.
and on to Montenegro. So it's been a good stay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're in Torre del Orso. Some cool cliffs over there that would have been great to explore if we had more time and warm weather. There's some people on the beach over there that are already enjoying it. Some people were in the water, which is unbelievable because it's like 60 degrees. So a beautiful little beach resort, beach sort of vacation area here, but then these really high cliffs that are kind of like those we saw in Mallorca. Very picturesque. So Torre del Orso. And way off beyond those clouds is Montenegro, where we'll be tomorrow.
Join us next time as we cross the Adriatic, check into Montenegro, and explore the Gulf of Kotor.